Lord Howe insect, Back from Extinction by Debbie Jennings and Frederica Turco.
So I think from the tallest person to the shortest person. What have I done? I pushed an arrow. Oh,
There. Do you want to?
yeah.
That's what you
Thank you. Okay, so this is the Lord Howe Island stick insect, also known as a flightless phasmid or tree lobster because of its large size. Lord Howe Island is an island about 800 kilometres off the northeast coast of, 800 kilometres northeast of Sydney, Australia, and that is where the Lord Howe Island stick insect used to call home. And I say used to because there's a bit of a story behind it. Let me put this here. In 1855, Montrosier described the insect as Dryococcelus australis, and the type was deposited in Saint Marie de Saint-Chamond in France. The type was actually then believed to have been destroyed during military occupation during both World Wars. So specimens that had been deposited elsewhere became really important because we no longer have the type specimens. So the phasmid was quite abundant on Lord Howe Island originally. In 1916, Arthur Lee, who was a renowned Australian entomologist, recorded about 68 specimens just on one tree alone. So life was good on the island for the stick insect. That was up until 1918, when a trade ship, Macambo, ran aground on the reefs surrounding the island. So in the 10 days that it took the ship to be repaired, black rats escaped from the ship and ended up on the island. So this is a flightless phasmid, and it was used to living in an environment where there were no predators. So of course the black rats found the flightless phasmid a wonderful large fast food, and very quickly the phasmid disappeared. And by 1935 it was considered extremely rare, or if not already extinct. During this process, there were also another 13 invertebrates and 5 bird species that also became extinct because of the black rats. Fortunately, before this happened, specimens had been collected and deposited in various institutions. So in the Australian National Insect Collection, we have a male and a female, and that's it. But at least we have some. So in 1964, some rock climbers tried to climb Ball's Pyramid, which is a smaller island off the coast of Lord Howe Island, about 25 kilometres away. And it's very difficult to access and very steep cliffs, and you can't even really launch a boat. You have to just go as close as you can, throw an anchor and kind of jump onto the cliffs and climb up. Anyway, in 1964, 2 climbers found some recently dead remains of what looked very similar to the Lord Howe Island stick insect. So they photographed it and took it back to show scientists. And after that, access to the island was restricted. I better hurry up. So that for 40 years, they tried to go back to the island to see if they could get some specimens. So in 2001, an expedition discovered 3 live specimens. In 2002, a return trip recovered 24 specimens. But it wasn't until 2003 that permission was granted for some specimens to be removed and a breeding program could be started. So a breeding program was started by the Melbourne Zoo, and The first hatchlings hatched on the 7th of September 2003, which is quite significant because it was a World Threatened Species Day. So these specimens that hatched, they don't look exactly like the Lord Howe Island stick insect. So there was a little bit of discussion about, is it really the Lord Howe Island stick insect or is it different? Anyway, recent advances in DNA studies have allowed for the DNA to be compared between the two Ball's pyramid insect and Lord Howe Island, and it shows that there's only 1% divergence in the mitochondrial DNA, which basically says that they are extremely close and most probably the same species. So we are in a bit of a hurry to try and breed up as many as we can and return them to the home on Lord Howe Island, but there are still rats on the island, so we have to eradicate those first. That was a bit rushed at the end.